Okay, so we are live. Welcome,
Hey,
welcome everybody. How are you? I am Amanda Elise. I am a spiritual coach and I am so happy because today we are going to be talking to my good friend and part of my spirit family, Pharaoh. Pharaoh, say hello.
hello, hello. It's such a blessing to be here.
Yes, so before I get into everything, I'm going to give everybody a chance to get settled, get a pen, get some paper because Pharaoh is going to be dropping gems. And I know this because every single time I talk to him, he's dropping gems and you got to catch
Wow,
them all. So we're just going to
man,
give
I'm so
you
honored.
your
So
honor.
honored.
Yes. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. So, and we'll just wait for other people to join.
Wow, everybody's logging in. Wow, this is such a blessing. It just shows that now is the time. Now is the time people are really interested in their souls and interested in growing. Man, it's so good to see all these people logging in.
It's true. Okay, give them a few more seconds. And if you are here, hop in the chat and say hello.
Hi, guys and ladies.
Ladies. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So once again, my name is Amanda Elise. I am a spiritual coach, and today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to gain clarity, discover your purpose, and there truly is no one better on this earth to be discussing this with you today than Pharaoh. Pharaoh is an amazing friend. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Pharaoh is a spiritual coach. Pharaoh is an entrepreneur. He is intuitive. He is a healer. He's a founder. What else do you do?
And all I like to say is that I'm a person who likes to help people heal and become the best version of themselves. So whatever capacity that is, if I can give advice on the business side, I can give advice or coaching on relationships, whatever that is, I just want to make myself available.
Absolutely. And I really want to speak from the heart, Pharaoh, and I have to say thank you. And I know that I've told you this before, and I just want to share it with everybody else. Pharaoh is absolutely 100% authentic. So I know a lot of you, depending on where you came, who told you about this webinar, how you got here, you may know that Pharaoh earned, what, $1.1 million in 13 months, which is
I did.
super impressive. You did, yes, super impressive. So I think a lot of people, for that reason alone, tune in. But I want to say that one of the most impressive things, in my opinion, about Pharaoh is that he is extremely, the word, you're very, I don't know, like, not committed, in tune, you're authentic. Basically, he has integrity. He is exactly who he says he
Yeah.
is. He does exactly what he says he's
Wow.
doing. Like, I'll be talking to him, making watermelon juice or whatever making. He truly eats in
Have to
line with
stay
how he
strong.
teaches people to eat. What'd you say?
That have to stay strong. Watermelon juice, fruit. Yes.
You do. You do. And keep it real. He told me the other day, like he almost reached for a cookie, but he didn't. He didn't, guys. He didn't. He's very authentic. Really, he stays on the path, and so that is why he's the best teachers to be able to teach you. Because keep it real, when you are, and just think about on the webinar, when you're learning from someone, when you're listening to some advice, you really want to listen to people who actually been there. You want to listen to people who are to their actual word, because words and energy are transferable. You're
Mhm.
hearing it from a source that is true and authentic, it really does rub off on you. That is why people hire spiritual coaches, an
Mhm.
energy exchange. So just by listening to him, just by hanging out with him, just by talking to him, that energy is transferred and it rubs off on you. So I just want to thank you for being you. I'm always impressed at how you about life, and I'm so happy that we're going to be sharing all this information with everyone. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for hosting this.
Yes, absolutely. So where should we start? So I obviously, like I said, a lot of people are coming here. Some people might know you, some people might know, but tell us a little bit about your journey. Where you are now is amazing to me. I want to hear, how did you get there? Where was the originating point where you realized, you know what, something needs to change?
The change. All right. So, where do I get started? First of all, thank you so much for that. It's a lot to live up to, but I take it day by day. Just as you all will learn that we don't have to focus on the future. We don't have to focus on tomorrow. We can focus on being the best version of ourselves in this moment. And when you do that, it frees you, right? So where to begin? Like a lot of you all's journey, my story really started out of pain. It started out from moments of realizing that I didn't want to have the life that I was experiencing anymore. I knew that I had so much more potential. I knew that there was so much more that life had to offer, but I wasn't experiencing it. So I grew up in the church. So I had knowledge of God, and I felt like I had a relationship with God. But I had got to the point where I realized that a lot of the things that I said that I knew, and a lot of the things that I say that I believe, it was because I was taught it. It wasn't really because I had the personal experience. So back in 2011, I had got to the point where I said, man, this is not working. So God, if you are real, and I had this conversation just like this to God. I said, if you are real, I'm throwing out every single thing that I've learned, and the things that are true, show me and confirm those things to me. And those are the things that I want to take, because I want to have power. I was tired of coming into relationships and not being able to manifest or create the relationships I wanted, business, like all of those things that we all go through. I was tired of not having the power to create the change in the life. So I said, I want to have the power to create these things. And that's when my journey began. And wow, this is real. It's so real. It's so real. So,
and I'm just going to say, right now, I'm so glad that you're saying that. And I'm so glad that people are able to see the other side, because a lot of people watching right now, that word that you said twice, power, a lot of people watching this feel powerless to change.
Yes.
They've tried to change. They've tried everything. They're praying. They're doing everything in their power to change. So when you talk to God and you realize, okay, I just feel completely powerless, what happened then? Did you have like an overwhelming, tell us about it. What happened?
I still didn't know what was the next step or what was going to happen. But I had taken action, and we're going to go over that. And there's a power in taking action. Instead of saying, oh, woe is me, I went and had a conversation. I said, God, I believe you. I believe that this is real, but it's not working. So teach me, and let me know the things. And at that moment, my mind started to expand. So what happened is, just like a lot of you all, this was back in 2011. So we didn't have Instagram where everybody was posting all this spiritual stuff and people can kind of be a support system. Man, I was just Googling. I would Google, like, how do you become successful? Or how can you overcome things in your life and become a better person? And I had stumbled across this YouTube video with Will Smith. And it's very interesting. So what happened is he was talking about when you really realize who you are and you start taking action, everything in the world, everything in the universe conspires to work in your favor. And he was referring to this book called The Alchemist, right? And back then I had gone through a couple situations and was in between jobs. So I had looked up on Amazon. That's before it's this, mega company that is now. I had looked it up. The book was like $12 and I couldn't even buy it in that moment.
I love that.
Made it. Yeah. Hey, I have to be authentic, right? So I couldn't buy it. And man, I'm actually feeling the emotions because I couldn't buy it, but I had said, I want every opportunity to grow. So I said a prayer. I said, I want to see what this book is talking about. So what happened is I had got invited to a party, and I had a friend, he's a football player or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. Everything's going to be taken care of. I'm not going to have to worry. So I go to this party and I meet this young lady, and she was really big in mission trips and things of that nature. So we're having a conversation and she's like, wow. She said, man, have you ever read this book called The Alchemist? And I was like, man, I just saw Will Smith talking about that book. She said, man, that book changed my life. And then she just asked me, she said, what's your address? She was like, give me your number. What's your address? And then I was like, why? And she said, I would like to bless you with this book.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Now, mind you, I had just had this prayer a couple days ago. And she sent me the book. I read the whole book in the day. Couldn't put it down. And inside this book, I know a lot of you guys read it, but it's about a boy. He was a shepherd, but he wanted to explore and he wanted to see the world. But everybody from where he came from, they didn't do that. That's not what you do. If your father was a shepherd, you're going to be a shepherd. And if you want to do something different, you might be a baker, but you're not going to reach optimal levels of success because it's not in your path, your destiny. But he made a decision that I don't care what everyone else says. I'm different. I want to experience more, right? I felt like he was me because I had got to that point. I want to experience more. And he went on this journey, and wow, that book changed my life. So years later, fast forward, I do the same thing. I bought stacks of The Alchemist, and probably some people watching this, when I come across a person and they haven't read it, I just give them the book, pass it forward, just so that I can be that to help other people change their lives as well. So that's what started the journey, and that was in 2011. So I started growing, and I was in Atlanta at the time, and I decided that, listen, in order for me to be able to move forward, in order for me to be able to grow, I need to be around people who have reached a certain level of success so they can teach me. So it's interesting what happened. As I started aligning myself and stopped just being limited, my mind started to expand. And we're going to talk about that a little later as well. But it started to open up, and I started to have this humility. And I was like, I need to find someone who can actually teach me. So I stumbled across this person. I was working at a restaurant at the time, came into the restaurant. I said a couple of things. I'm from Chicago. We found out he had a Chicago style restaurant. So I ended up meeting up with him later on, asking him some business questions, and we just connected. He said, well, listen, man, you don't have to be so formal. If you ever have any questions, call me, ask, and we developed a friendship. And that was like my first successful mentor. And that just randomly happened as well. And about a year later, I started a fitness company. I was really big into working out and to starting to transition my body. I had changed my diet. Christmas of 2011 was the last time that I ate meat. I said I wanted to have a date where I remember. So I was with my brother and with the family, and I had some turkey legs and all these things. The next day I went on a 3-day fast, first 3-day water fast. So I want to cleanse my body because I had made a commitment that I want to be the best version of myself possible. And what's interesting is I was studying, I said, why is it that Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all these spiritual great people, and then not only spiritual people, but people like Nikola Tesla, even Steve Jobs, they all changed their diet. It has to be something to this, right? So I changed my diet, and things just really started to shift and change. And scientifically, what I found out was when we start putting better foods in our bodies, plants and things like that, they have a higher level of vibration, a higher level of energy. When we put in our body, we naturally have a higher level of vibration, a higher level of energy, and toxins in our brain and our bodies are starting to be released. And scientifically it's been proven that our cells start to actually heal. So we put ourselves in a healing state. So mind you, it might be trauma and negativity and stuff around us, but our physical body starts healing, and then we have more of a positive vibration, and we're able to carry that on to relationships. So I eventually started working at the restaurant where my friend, his name is Greg, he owned the restaurant. I started working with him. Then I started a fitness company, and I had this idea. I said, listen, Greg, I know this is unorthodox, but we deliver pizzas. Can I put a flyer of my fitness company on the pizza boxes? It was in Buckhead, and you guys don't know, Buckhead, Atlanta, that's where the money is at. And I was trying to get there. It was on my vision board to live in Buckhead. So I put the flyer on the pizza box, and I figured that when people feel fat and lazy, and down at that, hey man, I need to work out. And man, and within a week and a half, 2 weeks, I had 15 clients. And then I took that and started to go into companies, and it just grew and it exploded. And then I set my first goal. My first goal was, all right, God, again, if you are real, I want to make $10,000 in a month. Now that was crazy because listen, I couldn't buy a $15 book like a year and a half before. Now I wanted to make $10,000. It took me about 2 months. I made $10,000. And then one of my clients, he owned this company, and they were trying to expand. And they were in a unique marketplace where we would go to trade shows where there was a lot of people, like fairs and festivals where 100,000, 200,000 people would come by in a weekend, and they were selling this unique product. And he said, well, listen, we've been on the road. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to be the supplier and have young people like yourself who are articulate. And he was just selling, of course, who are articulate So I gave it a try, and it took me 3 months. The first 2 weeks, I lost money, and then I think I broke even the next month. And then I started in September. By January, I had did a 17-day show and made $34,000. And I was like, wow. And then by April, I did a 3-day show. I'm sorry, it was a 4-day show. In 3 days, I made $35,000. The 4th day, I was completely sold out. So I probably lost about 10 grand. And then I finished that year right under $1 million. So that's why it took me 13 months to make that $1.1 million. But I had packed up everything I had in a Suburban and drove across country from Atlanta, stopping in Illinois, doing shows, South Dakota. There was no black people. There was nobody like me, but I didn't care. Staying in motels every week, living in motels for months and just stacking and then putting money back in the business. I'm reading books. I'm getting coached by people, and I'm praying every day. And my life shifted. So that's how I kind of got to this point. And I feel like I'm talking a lot about myself and not giving value. I want to shift and kind of go into what were the key things.
Yeah, let me ask you that. And thank you. That, first of all, that's absolutely amazing. I know that everybody else is like, okay, we're ready for these keys, Pharaoh. Let us know. So there are a lot of people, and myself included, on this webinar that we have been manifesting for a while. We know the secrets. We know what to do. We do our journals. We do our meditation. We do our visualization. And we can manifest amazing things into our life. Yes. And for some of us, we know that our abundance is a little bit stopped up. Like, we know that we can let a little bit more abundance flow. So can you speak specifically on what are some keys to not only manifesting things, but letting the monetary abundance flow into your life as well?
Very good question. Very good question. As I started to make money, one of the first things that I realized is I didn't know how to be rich. And that was the key. I had never been rich before. I had never been wealthy before. My parents had never been wealthy. I had been around wealthy people, but I didn't know how to be wealthy. So what happens is when we grow up a certain way, our minds are tuned into a certain frequency, right? And until we're able to adjust it or reattune it, we stay into that frequency. That's why there's so many, and this is something that my mentor taught me. That's why there's so many people who get money and become wealthy and then they go broke, because they were able to work hard, but they didn't have the frequency, or they weren't in tune with themselves to be able to keep it or maintain it. So you go back to how you are naturally. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to start actually working on your mind. So I was given different books, and now I actually launched a book club for young men where I feel like now is the time where instead of saying, hey, you should do this and that, no, actually mentor and work with people. So we actually started a book club with young men who have dreams and have ambitions, and they feel like they don't have the aptitude or the resources to be able to talk to successful people. So I have a lot of successful friends now. So once a month, I have a different millionaire or a different business owner. They jump on the call, and then they actually give strategies and connect with these young men. A lot of these guys are from the inner city, but we do that now so that we can kind of build and expand. But as far as back to your question, it all starts with your mind. And that leads to the number one thing that allows you to start gaining clarity. You have to decide. You have to decide. Enough is enough. I don't want the life that I have anymore. And I'm taking action now to start working on myself. So the very first thing is to cut off negativity and limiting beliefs. So naturally, we have these ideas that, man, I know I can be successful. Some people is, I can't ever be successful. And then some people, I am successful. I know I can be successful, but I need help. If I had a business loan, or no, it's none of that. What you'll learn is as you start changing your mindset and letting that negativity or pushing that negativity out of your mind, it clears up space. Imagine if you're cleaning up the garage, right? And the garage is packed and you can't put anything else into the garage. It's just stuff. It's not until you start taking stuff out that you have the room to reorganize, to change how the garage is actually decorated or where stuff is, and then put new things in. So you have to remove those negativities so you can put in positivity and then expand. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And what I heard you say earlier is that you do surround yourself with successful people who think differently. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and say, I'm sure that part of removing the negativity out of the garage is also removing people who are negative in your circle and in your life.
Exactly. Yes. And it's important to let go. So within this journey back on the spiritual side, you start to realize that everybody around you doesn't have your best interests at heart. And even if they do, even if they are good friends, they may not be on the same path. And I actually did a video previously, and I had a conversation with Tyrese, and it was very, very good and effective. And I always bring it up because he said that there was an expiration date on loyalty. And that really, really struck a chord because I was getting to the point where I was growing and I wanted more. And I'll go to my friends and they still wanted to party and do all those type of things. And I needed to learn how to become better. So we weren't on the same path. But you kind of feel like if I stop talking to them or I don't hang out with them as much, they're going to feel like I'm different now, or I feel like I'm better, and all these things. That, again, is limiting beliefs and negativity that you tell yourself that tries to hold you into that lower vibration. But you have to rise in love for yourself and to know that you have to do what's best for yourself so that you can grow and then have the capacity to be able to give to others. So as I'm listening to as I'm listening to Tyrese, he said he was being wild in Hollywood. His friends were always hanging out, so he'll go with them. Somebody sat him down. That was Will Smith. That's why I brought him up. You see how Will Smith keeps tying into this? But it was Will Smith, and he said, listen, brother, you have a lot of talent. You have a lot of abilities, but you need to slow down. Don't let other people hold you back. And at that point, Tyrese realized that, wow, I have to separate from some of my friends. So he had a conversation with him, and he said, listen, it's not that I don't love you, because I do. If you ever need anything, I'm still here, but I can't hang out with you all the time because we're going in two different directions. And he decided and he chose to invest in himself. And now, and after that, he had the capacity to be able to help his friends on brand new levels. So that is something that was really impactful. So I let them go. And as you create space again, as I cleaned out the garage or cleaned out my mind and the people around me, other people started to show up. And that is how it works. That is how it works.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so can we say that's key number one?
Key number one is to cut off negativity.
Cut off negativity.
For positive and positivity to come in. Now, the second thing is I'm alone now. I don't have as many friends now.
What do I do?
I have so much time on my hands. It's so weird. You realize you wasted so much time doing stuff. And again, that's your mind opening up. That's your mind expanding, realizing that, hey, I do have time to invest in myself, and I do have time to discover new ideas and possibilities. So as that happened, I started to learn how to meditate. Now, meditation is different than prayer, right? When we think about prayer, we have all these things and we go and we tell God or spirit or the universe, we go and say, hey, I need this and that, or can you help me with this? Or can you bless me with that? Or watch my mama, and I hope my children are safe. All these things. We go into this heart just wanting. But that doesn't work in relationships. How many of you guys have successful relationships and all you do is take, and say what you want all the time and have a successful relationship? That's not it. It's unbalanced. So when you open up yourself, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? What exactly does that relationship look like? What we know, what we can receive, what can we give to God? Where it's like, what's the word? Symbiotic? You know the word I'm looking for.
Yes. Where it's an even exchange, where it's an actual yourself. That's it. Time. What do you want in a relationship? That's what I started to realize as my mind opened up, right? And expanded. What do you want in a relationship? You want conversation. You want experiences. You want time. And the more that you give, the more that you receive is a natural law of the universe. But these things were not taught in school. These things were not taught by our parents because a lot of them don't know. But it's the law of like cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. So when something is broken and it's not working, go back to the source, right? And when you see people who have things that are working, you also go back to the source and see what works. So the more that I started spending time alone and learning how to meditate, and YouTube was my friend, and sit still, I realized that there's so much more out there. And I started to get ideas. I've always had ideas and I've always been ambitious in these things, but I was starting to, things were starting to look like give you an example, like a maze, right? Life is like a maze where you don't necessarily know the left, which way left is going to go or which way right is going to go. But when you sit and you're still and you have clarity, you become what's called a mastermind. And people don't realize that the word mastermind is actually mastering your mind. We think that a mastermind is just a person, but no, you learn to master your mind. And then you can navigate and kind of see 3 moves ahead like chess. And things become easier and easier because you realize that you are co-creating with the universe. You don't have to do everything by yourself.
You know what?
Well, let me say this. The second thing that was the second thing to gain clarity, right? I let go of all the negativity. I opened up space for more positivity. So now I can see better, right? I can feel better. And then the second thing was I started to meditate and develop this relationship with spirit, with God, with the universe. And then I was able to start seeing possibilities. So I'm getting more and more clear and having more and more direction. Go ahead.
Thank you. That's really great. I was just going to say that if anyone is feeling overwhelmed, like, oh my, to do so many things, it's going to be so difficult, I have to strategize and blah, blah, blah. Just knowing from what you just said that you can sit down, you can listen, and it sounds like you're opening up the portals for you to get information download. And those information downloads that you get are the keys to take you where you want to go. So just by sitting still and listening, using your words, you're co-creating with the universe. So you have a helper to come in with you, but you have to sit down and be still to listen. So it kind of takes the pressure off, knowing that you're going to get the answers.
Yes. And this is the thing, because again, I have clients all across the US and the world now, and so many people feel stuck, but they feel this overwhelming pressure that they have to be successful or they have to do it because so many people don't feel supported. Our families have limited answers because a lot of our families, they haven't become successful. They don't have ultimate levels of peace or joy or happiness. So we don't really have that many people to turn to. But the thing is to turn inside. And as you turn inside and you start growing and becoming happier and clearer, the outside world becomes more and more clear and things start to synchronize or you start co-creating.
That is beautiful. Synchronicity is such a beautiful word. Is that how you say you would live your complete life?
That's how I live everything. I don't really plan things. I just have to flow. We were created to flow with the universe. Bruce Lee said it best. He said that he doesn't have all of these plans. He just flows like water. And the thing about water is if water has to turn to the left, it's going to turn to the left. It has to turn to the right, it's going to turn to right. But at the end of the day, it's going to get to the destination it has to get. And there's no worry, no stress. And that's how we should be.
I love that. Well, we're
one more.
We're getting there. Okay, what's the last key? And I know you have more, but for the purposes of today, what's the last key we're going to give them?
The last key is to dream. Now that I realize that I'm the only one holding myself back by being in a negative environment or having negative limiting thoughts, and I let go of that, what happens is as you release, positivity and other things are able to come and deposit into your life. And I love that example. Let me give another example. Kind of like the bank, right? We make deposits, we make positive deposits so that when we need it, we can actually go and to get it. That's what meditation is about. It's spending that time in stillness, depositing clarity, depositing love into our life so that when we need answers, when situations around us are going bad, we're able to withdraw that love and that positivity and be able to get through. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then dream. You're the only one who stops yourself. Keep dreaming. Everyone who achieved the unimaginable, they dreamed unimaginable things. Like when I was reading the story of the Wright brothers, I realized that the majority of their friends in the whole world thought they were crazy. They were at a place or in a time where they were telling people, we're going to create these machines where we can fly like birds, like humans. We're going to be in the sky and we're going to fly. And at that time, that had never, ever existed. So people literally thought that they were crazy. But what they did is they had expanded the possibilities of what they felt could be created. And they made the intangible, or just the idea, tangible, come into the natural reality and become natural form. And the rest is history. So dream big, and become grateful. The more you see that the universe supports you, the more you're able to connect in your meditation, the more you're going to start being grateful for the small things. When someone just randomly says, hey, I was thinking about you, and I just want to say you're inspiration, you just feel this gratitude. And then you start giving more and more and noticing small things, just like walking by flowers and realizing that all a flower wants to do is to be beautiful and give away a sweet aroma. And you're like, wow, this really is just adding value to the world. And you want to start being able to add more and more value in different ways. And it keeps expanding, expounding. And your whole life and everything within you changes. And we want to put in the work. So our children don't have to feel stuck like we did. So our children don't have to feel alone, or like there's no answers or there's no support like we did when we grew up. We want to put in the work now so that we can start creating those abundant relationships and abundant realities like we wanted when we were younger. And those are the three things that changed and shifted my life. And after that, guess what I discovered?
What?
Purpose. I discovered what my purpose was. And it took about 6 years over this whole process. I still was like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? But I had to actually experience the journey to realize that I have a heart to help people heal and to learn the things that I learned, because I didn't really have support. I had one good friend, his name is Prana, who you guys would meet during this whole process, but no one else, as I was in Atlanta, Georgia, realized, I was around no one else who really realized everything that I was going through. Maybe a mentor on the business end, but not on the spiritual end, and realizing that we can create whatever we want into this life. And I discovered I want to devote my life to helping other people to learn, to heal, to transform their life, because I get this gratitude that can't be explained when a person finally clicks and like, I can do it. And their whole world, their whole reality, it shifts, it changes. And I live for those moments.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much for giving us those keys. So I want to ask you, because I know everybody now is like, okay, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. How can people work with you?
Got you. Well, let me ask you this though. Can I take maybe a few minutes to kind of tell you guys in the comments below, if it's okay, I want to tell you guys something that we're working on where we'll all be able to kind of work together. Is that okay?
Okay with me.
So what we just created is actually in a few days. So it's great time. And in a few days, we're launching a 21-day spiritual transformation course. And in this course, well, let me back up. What I realized, even from you hearing my story, is there's a lot of people who are transitioning. They don't know where to get started. They don't know what to do. They have relationships that they're not happy in. All this stuff, right? Real life stuff that we all experience, and they need support. So I had this dream. I had this vision, and Prana, the friend who kind of supported, we had this vision to create a platform where people would be able to talk about their journey, have a positive environment as they're growing, and also learn and have support from people who have been there, right? So what we're doing is creating a mind, body, and soul course. And we've gotten experts in every arena. From the body side, we have yoga experts who are going to teach you how to connect with your body and how that elevates you spiritually the more that you know yourself. We have people like Emily, forgive me. We have people like Emily and Rob Mack, who are mind specialists. They have been on such shows as Dr. Oz or Good Morning America, and they really specialize in the science, the psychology behind positivity. How when you allow negativity into your life, it actually manifests in things that really, really limit you, like anxiety or depression or physical ailments. And they're going to be breaking down all of these things. And then we have people like Prana, who is actually a spiritual coach. He's a business coach, and he's going to talk about how he utilizes his gifts, his intuition to really tap in and work with entrepreneurs and CEOs to see what are their limiting beliefs that are affecting their business and everything around them. It's super phenomenal. And what I did is I wanted to make this extremely affordable for people. So when you guys register, you're going to see everything. But just for me to coach is like $150 an hour, right? So over the course of 3 weeks, that would be, 3 to 6 calls, because we are doing 2 live calls every week. So it'll be about 6 calls. So it will cost $900 just if I was coaching someone and gave them 2 calls a week for 3 weeks. But what I did is I said, man, I want to impact people. I want to create the most value possible. So I went and spoke to a lot of my friends who have the same heart and the same passion. And we created this whole package, which is like a $3,000 value as far as if we were all coaching and giving our time. And we created for $495 for everybody. And the most phenomenal thing about it is it's a live course. There's not a lot of live courses. So twice a week, what's going to happen is me and Emily or me and Prana, we're going to jump on a live webinar like this. But instead of just talking to you all and teaching you, it's going to be more of a conversation. You can ask us questions. We are going to teach you certain things, but you're going to be able to really dive in and get the answers you need in your particular situation. So it's extremely phenomenal. And there's an added surprise. We have a lot of celebrity clients or influencers who we've been coaching who are actually a part of the program as well. And I'm not just saying that to say, oh, wow, do it because influencers. No, we're saying that because they're finally to the point where they're ready to tell their audience and their followers, like, listen, I know I've had success. I know I've had money and all of these things, but I realize there's so much more. And I've been going through this transition, and I've been going on this journey and shedding so many things. And I want to invite you all to be a part of it with me. So it's this big community where everybody is on the same level, willing to show love and support to each other. And it starts on 8/11, so in a few days. So I really want to invite you all to come, and you're going to get everything, I promise you, everything you need to take your life to the next level. And I apologize Emily, for messing up your name. My bad. I'm a real person.
It's okay. You got all her credentials, and I know she knows that you love her. I'm so happy to, you too. I'm so happy to hear about this course. And I have to tell you, everyone, like I was saying before, there's a lot of courses out there, right? There's a lot of coaches out there. When you choose to learn from a coach, they could literally be saying the exact same words as another coach, but coaching, talking, it is an energy transference.
Yes,
so
it is.
Yes. So when you are choosing who to work under, make sure you're choosing someone who has been exactly where you are. Some of you might be in the space where you cannot afford the $12 book or whatever, been exactly where you are and is now where you want to be or somewhere along that path. So it's really great to learn from someone who practices what they preach. Like I said, this man eats how he's supposed to eat. He talks to people how he's supposed to talk to people. He moves. He sees, we've recently actually just reconnected, and just watching the way that he moves, watching the way his mind puts things together, it's very impressive. And I know it's because he's on that higher vibration. And I can tell you that I have absolutely shifted just in the short amount of time that we have been reconnected, just by watching, like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, so that's cool. So I know it's going to be beneficial for everybody who learns from you. And it's not only you, like you said, there's a lot of people who have been on Dr. Oz or been wherever. And whenever I look at things like, okay, they've had a lot of publicity.
Yep.
It's not always about the publicity. In my mind, it's the fact that their mind even thought, that's what I can do, and they achieved it. So you might, it's just impressive. I'm so happy for this lineup. I know your people are going to shift.
Yeah, now I wanted to say one more thing because this is very important. I know a lot of people are thinking like, wow, he's so far advanced. I don't want to become vegan right away, or I don't want to do this because it's going to be, no. The thing that I discovered, and when I talk to other people who went through the same spiritual transformation, is that God, the universe, spirit, they start working with you at the level that you are. And it's all about you when you're ready. One thing that I started to realize is I had grew up in systems where there's school or jobs or sometimes even the church, right? Where they just try to tell you this is how it needs to be. You need to do this. So you start doing things not because it's what you love or what you believe, but because other people are telling you. Well, that's not how it is. We want to just support you, to give you information, to answer questions, and to support you on your journey. So it's no judgment. You can do it. All the information is going to be out there, and we're going to be talking every day for 21 days. So it's really, really amazing. I definitely want you all to tap in. You're going to get every single thing you need to make it to the next level. I promise you that. We have a money back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied after the first week, then we will refund your money, because it's not about the money. It's about you investing in yourself and believing it. Because as far as psychology says, there's a science that when you invest in yourself, when people actually spend their money, they take things more seriously. So we wanted to make it affordable, but still at a price where people would have to decide, like, listen, I'm going to take control of my life right now and in this moment, and I'm going to sacrifice this for myself. And that's when people take things seriously. And that's when people put in the work that's needed to get to the next level. So all we want to do is be a support system for you.
Oh, that is amazing. So you're saying that people are going to shift.
They're going to shift. We believe in breakthroughs. So your relationships are going to shift. I'm talking about if you have baby mama drama, if you have relationship drama, a lot of times we think it's that other person, but you're going to start realizing that there's things that you can change. And as you become more open, as you become more understanding, it may take some time, but people notice and they want to become more open and more understanding. Have you ever been in the grocery store and you're walking by a person and then you smile and then they smile back, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Things are contagious. Or you say hi to a person and they look at you a little shocked, but they're like, hi. They respond and say hi because you said hi. Now, there are some people who are just like, right? But the majority will respond in the same energy that you give out. So we teach you how to change everything around you. So you will change your life financially, mentally, spiritually, and love, because that's what it's all about. So you will gain higher levels of understanding and love.
Oh, that's beautiful. So what if there's someone right now who might be in a relationship? Would you suggest that someone takes it with their spouse or significant other, or do you think it should be a self thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, well, I don't think, I know, right? And that's another question. That's another thing. We're leaving the age of belief. It's not about belief anymore. It's about try and prove. So I know that both of you all should take it, but have your own individual experiences. A lot of times when we're in relationships, we feel like we have to mesh everything. No, it's two individuals, two complete individuals who know who they are and are at 100%, and they come together and they create a 100% relationship. Not a 50-50, because 50-50 is going to be barely making it. But when two people who are 100%, it's going to be an overflow of love, an overflow of abundance, and also this freedom of, I love you, but I don't feel like I'm bound to the relationship. So you start to appreciate each other more. And that's what we're creating. Better relationships in every area of life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, I know that I could talk to you all night long about all this, and I know there's so many other gems and keys that you have to give us, but I guess you're going to be saving those for the course.
So deep. Get ready.
Awesome.
Oh, one last thing. And I know people are like, oh, really? I'm trying to register. But listen, one last thing. This is very, very special to me. I've been studying nutrition and diet and fasting and all these things. Some of you guys have done fasting. Some of you have done juice cleanses. But we have a couple of doctors that are connected to the program, and they're going to be showing how scientifically, when we start eating better nutrition, we put ourselves in a healing state, like I spoke on, but you can reverse a lot of diseases, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, chronic headaches, all these things we're reversing, not even having to exercise, but just through nutrition. And these are things that that the medical industry and big pharma have tried to keep away from us because it's about money to them. But these are practical things you can do to start healing your body and starting to feel better. So just wanted to say that. And you all go ahead and register now. And I thank you so much for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Well, where can people find you if they just want to, ask you questions or follow you on social media?
Great. You can find me at Pharaoh333 on Instagram. And then you can go to our website. It's unitytransformation.com. And then transformation is TRANS, the number 4, in Mation, MATION. So unitytransformation.com. And I would love to talk to you. And I want to tell everybody we're keeping this real. We're not going to edit this. So when you're watching it, be like, dang, they messed up. We wanted it like that because we wanted to show you that you don't have to be perfect to be able to affect people and to be able to talk from your heart. So that's why we're keeping this video like this.
Amazing. And for me, if you came through Pharaoh or someone else, you can follow me at Spiritually Dope on Instagram. And then, just DM me. I love to hear from y'all. Okay, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Blessings.